Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new Gedonia guide video with me, Sherman. Today guys, we're going to be doing a companions guide video, and this is, we're going to talk about, in this video, we're going to talk about all the places you can get companions and what gear and weapons they can use, how you can upgrade them through their friendship thing. And yeah, we're going to do that. But we're not going to be just talking about the 6 companions you see here. We're going to be talking about the other 2 companions as well, Wyanna and Ernst, which a lot of people don't know about, that you can get as companions. So we're going to explain how we can get them as well. But we're going to start off with the most famous of all companions, the Stray Dog. So, the Stray Dog you get in the starting city of Waystan near a well here. And you just give him a piece of cooked meat and he will join you as a companion and he will be your best friend. Trust me on that. And he is probably one of the best tank companions you can get in the game. Now, I say one of the best because there is actually 3 of these characters. Well, 4, 5. There's a few of them who can tank. We'll just put it that way. But there are 2 that have aggro mechanics primarily built into them, and the dog is one of them. So let's take a look at what the dog can use. So to become his best friend, you give him meat and he will best friend you, and he is like I said, he will be your best friend. He is also the only companion that you can pet. Alright, and if you're wondering how I'm activating the menu to get into the dog without like opening my inventory, clicking on talk and all that, is you just mouse over him, hit V, boom, done. As long as you have the yellow glow. And if you're ever wondering why when you're looting stuff and you keep getting this when you're looting, that's why. It's because it also uses the same key to loot, to pet him. Alright, so going over his equipment, jewelry wise, these 3 rings, these 3 things are going to be really good for him if he's a damage dealer. The King's set with the King's Cloak. Now, the King's Cloak will not show on his back, neither will another cloak that you can get in the game, which is the Cloak of Concentrated Power. It will not show on him at all. And backpacks, I believe, don't show as well. So you can give him a backpack, you can give him cloaks, you can give him that kind of stuff. A warrior's backpack if he's tanking, definitely, or guardian's backpack, because then it gives him 10 armor. Would be really good. Alright, so I have him set up with the King's gear. So cloak, 2 rings and a necklace is all he can wear. For skills, all companions have the same 6 passive skills, and you do get 5 points which you can put in your companions, 2 into active abilities and then 3 into the passive abilities. And for passives, they have a bonus health, bonus damage, bonus critical, bonus armor. They have a abilities cooldown, and then they have ability effect bonus. All really good for, like, depending on how you want them to be. If you want them to be damage dealers, support, damage support, or tank, will depend on how you set them up. Now, the dog is the best tank because it has the best single target aggro mechanic tool, which is barking, and it generates 100 aggro from a current target. So whatever target you actively set him on, if he does this ability, he will have aggro the whole time. So really good for that. Next up is his bite, and this deals 200% damage up front and bleed effect over time for 10 seconds and deals damage over time. Really good ability. I mean, probably the 3rd best single target damage ability out of all the companions. Next up, he has an Instinct of Survival, which is a heal over time, and it'll make like this poofy green spark come off of him. And when it does, it will, he'll do a heal over time on himself. And same thing with the bark. When he does this, he'll bark at the enemies. So when you hear him bark at something, that's what he's doing, is he's drawing aggro. And then last but not least is his armor piercing ability. Now, he has a awesome armor pierce. This reduces the enemy's armor by 10%. It is insane. It is awesome to have. And he can apply it only once. Now, with you and the skill in the combat mastery line, armor piercing. This stacks up to 5 times, and it reduces their damage, or it increases their damage they take by 1% for each time you do it. His does 10%, so you can actually get 15% with this. Just to let you know. Alright, really powerful abilities. I'm going to go ahead and rebuff myself again real quick, just so I have that active. And we are going to go ahead and get rid of the dog, because I've shown you everything about him. And next we're going to move on to Sidmer, which is the next companion you can get in the very beginning of the game. Sidmer is hanging out in the inn, in, of course, the starting town here of Wasteland. And the inn is... right, like, soon as you load into the game, it's off to your left. He costs 200 gold to hire, and he does require gold. He does require gold to be your best friend. It costs about 300 gold to upgrade him to max, and he isn't the only one. There's actually 4 companions that require gold to upgrade. But he is a mercenary for hire. His primary things is the 3 jewelry, of course, the hammer, and a heavy armor chest piece. So, 2-handed hammer, heavy armor chest piece, and the rings. Now, I have him on all kings. I am going to be changing this, though, and I'm going to be changing out his arm. I'm going to be changing out all this stuff because I have another set that I want him to use because it would be better for him in total. So, like, survivability-wise, everything. And I have him set up for how you would want to set a tank up. Bonus health, bonus armor, and decreased ability cooldown. Now, if you're playing a support character, I'm going to let you know now, bonus effect, ability cooldown, and then you can go with max health, armor, damage, or crit, your choice. Any one of those, any one of these is going to be good for support. But I prefer to go my support this route, just straight across the bottom. So they have that increased survivability, they have that increased ability cooldown, and they have that increased ability effect. Now with him, because I have him set up as a tank, I have his tank abilities. But we're going to go over these abilities that he's using. Starting with the first one, he has Cleave, and this is an ability that does AoE damage around him. He does like a spinning attack, and it does a lot of damage. Doesn't knock enemies down, but it will knock them, push them back a little. So, a really good area of effect. Damage with a little bit of knockback. Just overall good ability. Next up, Mass Taunt. This is what I use to draw aggro. It gives all enemies around him a 50 aggro towards Sidmer. And then the more damage he does, the more aggro he generates. So... I don't have him set up with any other damage abilities, but his hammer attack is a cleave, so. Next up, Stunning Strike. Has a chance to stun the targets for 5 seconds. It's a really good stun. It works on pretty much everything. And then last but not least, he has his Drink Small Potion. Now, this is a really good ability, but you do have to have a small potion in his inventory. I don't have any in his inventory on this character because I didn't play him that way. Like, I didn't know that at the time when I made this character. I didn't understand how the abilities worked. I didn't understand passives. So I just clicked on it and just thought, okay, he's going to use a potion to heal himself. But it has to be in his inventory. And then he'll drink potions. And it is an insane heal. So, really good tank, really good damage dealer, if you want him to be. Alright, next up, we have Brother Jordan, our famous buffer. And this guy is one of 3 support characters in your party. And I say 3 because technically two of them are definitely support, and one is kind of a third support, and then another character has a supportive skill as well. So, but let's go ahead and take a look at Brother Jordan. Brother Jordan, you get at the monastery down here in the starting area. If you go to do the dragon quest, you're going to go to the monastery anyways, and you're going to get him as a companion. He is free, but he does cost gold coins to max out, and I think he just wants those gold coins to donate to the church. So. His story is he wants to be a powerful paladin, by the way. So, really cool. He does use a one-handed sword, and he uses a cloth hood, and then 3 jewelry pieces. I have him with the Metropolitan stuff because he is a priest, so I figured this would be best, and it gives him a bigger mana pool. And then with the King's Sword and the Metropolitan Hood, it makes him a lot better. Now, I do have him set with bonus damage. I have him set up with the abilities cooldown and the bonus ability effect for being the support character he is. Now, going over his abilities, he has his first one, Heal All. This is an AoE heal. So when he uses it, he will heal all players in the vicinity. And it does work very well. Next up is Blessing of Health. Now this increases the health and defense of any party member that he casts it on. So he can cast it also on your allies as well, and it does work. It works very similar to this. So it'll give him a boost in health and then a boost in max armor by 5. So when it's on you, I'll have, like for my character, I will have a 29 armor, and it's just crazy good with that. Next ability he has is Holy Shield. Now this is just for him, and he has a chance to buff himself with a shield that increases armor and magic resistance. You'll know when he has it on him, he'll have 3 like shields circling around him, and it's really good when you're in challenging boss encounters to have him have this ability so he can have that greater survivability. Next up, Divine Place. This is an AoE, area of effect, heal. And it looks like these circles back here, and it's a little bit bigger, and it'll put it on the ground, and then your allies, when they step into it or you walk into it, it'll heal anyone who's in it. And it does like a burst heal, and then it does a heal over time. So really good ability. And he is a great support character to have in your party. Alright, next character you get is Buddha. Buddha is a unique character, to say the least. He is one of the characters that can also tank to a certain degree. Alright, so where do you get Buddha? Buddha is actually in the Golden Fields on this bridge, and he will be here waiting for you, like the goats and Billy Goat, like the story of the Billy Goat's Gruff. He'll be like the troll on the bridge, but he's an orc on a bridge, and he is amazingly powerful. He has the highest health of any of your companions, and the way you make him your best friend is ribs. He likes ribs, cooked ribs. So if you give him cooked ribs, you can max it out. It takes about 30 or 40 to max it out. So just to let you know. Lots of boar hunting and deer hunting or pig slaughtering at your house. So lots of ribs. And then also he has a heal from that as well that I'll show you. So of course, 3 jewelry. I have him in the King's. I have him with the King's mace. Really powerful hammer for him. And then he wears a leather helmet. Any leather helmet will work. But, you know, I prefer the nature one because I feel like it fits him best, being a barbarian kind of guy. So, alright, now going over his skills. Starting with his first skill, he has Buddha Hits the Ground. This is an AoE knockback. And it basically, he just slams the ground like you do. If you use the charge ability, he'll do that. But he does it in one place. He'll just jump up and down and smash his hammer, and all the enemies get knocked back to the ground and take a lot of damage. It's really good if you're tanking, because it disrupts the enemies. Next up, Buddha eats ribs, baked ribs. So if you have baked ribs and you put them in his inventory, he will eat them and he'll heal for 40% of his health. You do have to have this skill active. By the way, you can only have 2 active abilities, and then 3 of these active at any time. So you can't have any more than that. That's why you see these 2 glowing and these 2 are darkened out. And that's for all the companions. So really good if you want him to be a tank. This right here with this ability, or you can use the next ability, which is Buddha Roars loudly, and Buddha will scream and scare enemies, decreasing their damage and their attack speed. And it's basically like a massive debuff. It's just crazy how good it is. So, just a reminder, make sure you have, you know, him set up how you want him. I have him set up for a damage dealer, so I don't have this one. His next ability is Buddha Creates a Wave. It's like a blue wave that'll bust out of him, and it basically slows down the enemies and deals a lot of damage to them. So really good for the damage setup to go with these two. And then for like tank, go this one or go these two here. Either way, he can tank really well. Alright, enough with Buddha. Now we're going to move on to Katra. And Katra's a unique one. Now, Buddha and Katra are the only companions that require you to have 3 in charisma to get. But Katra's unique because she's a rogue treasure hunter. So let's go, Katra. Let's talk about that rogue and treasure hunter thing. She is a treasure hunter, and she's mad at you when you first meet her because you got a ring that she was after, which is a ring of silence. Now, the way you get her is you get a quest here in Erderon, the capital city here. She'll be in an inn, or she won't, but the quest will be in an inn in the Living Quarter, and it'll send you to this where this Unsolved Mysteries is, which is called the Enchanted Grotto. And when you go in there, which is basically right behind your house, it's that right there. She's right in the entrance, and she'll try and fight you because you got the ring that she wanted. But if you have 3 charisma, you can get her to join you. And she is the only rogue companion, assassin type companion. So she does use a dagger, even though it shows her with 2 on the screen. She does use a dagger or 2 daggers. She wears leather armor, chest, and then the 3 rings, of course. And you can also get the bandits, the king set from the bandits as well. So if you're playing like a rogue with a high charisma, you can get her as well. And it's a really good set to have for her. And then moving on to to her skills, sorry. Her first skill is dodge. This increases her chance to evade attacks or dodge attacks by 50%. Really kind of interesting skill. I used it on her for a little bit and it worked pretty well because she dodged 50% of the incoming attacks. The problem is that she still takes a lot of damage because she has such a low armor rating. Next up, we have Applied Poison, which deals poison damage, of course, and is also really good for her. So you can get this, and it'll apply poison that deals damage. Really good. Next up, Round Kick. This is actually an awesome ability. She does like a jumping spin kick, helicopter kick, and hits all the enemies around her and knocks them back and deals a little bit of damage. Next ability she has is Throw Dagger. Now this is the strongest single target ability that I know of, besides one other. So besides the dog's bite, this is the next highest. And then there is a third higher one, single target. But 500% damage, really good. And I don't know if she can work with the Snakebite set, but that would be really cool if it did work with her. So, overall, really good damage dealer character. Not really much of a support character. You can tank with her if you're playing a rogue. You just have the dodge. Make sure you have the high armor, the health, and then I would probably wouldn't go with either one of these. Maybe the cooldown, so you can get this dodge rate up more often. But yeah, it might be a good idea to try that out and use her as a tank if you want to. So the Buddha and her can also tank. Now, Brother Jordan with his shield, he can kind of tank, but not really. And last but not least, with the companions you get in the base game overworld, we have Starwalker. Now, Starwalker is the only mage companion that you can get in the game. I'm going to call him over here. And Starwalker has a unique story. He doesn't know how he got to where he was. But you will find him in the Volfar Fields down here in this area near the underwater temple. You'll find him down here. He is an incredible mage companion. So as you can see, I have him with none of the mage gear, but if you do the Mage Guild or Mage Academy faction and you get it to max, you can get him the mage epic jewelry, the mage epic staff, and the mage robes. He can wear mage light armor, so chest piece. Really good. And the way you best friend him is through ghost essence. And if you're in the Volfar fields, you're going to be fighting a lot of ghosts and like weird bears and wolves and stuff that are like enraged. And so he's a really good companion for that. And the ghost essence is easy to get, and he's probably the easiest person to get maxed out besides like Sidmer or Catra. Catra is also gold, by the way, to buff out her best friend status. Sorry, I forgot that. Alright, moving on to his skills. He has Lightning Strike. This is a super, super strong single target ability. It does damage and it does stun for 6 seconds. And it's pretty much like Sidmer's stun. It will stun anything, including bosses. I don't know why. It's insane. But it's a very powerful ability. Next, we have Increased Magical Power. Now, this is a buff. And it'll buff you or your allies with magic damage. But the funny thing is the only person he can really buff is you, the priest, or that's it. So, really powerful character. And when you have him fully geared out, his damage is like 1500. It's sick. Next ability he has is his aggro reduction ability, star form. He'll turn into like this glowing, pulsating star for like a millisecond, and then he returns back to normal and enemies will stop attacking him, but he does generate a ton of aggro with the amount of damage he does. And then next ability he has is Ghost Fire, and his regular attack is like a purple orb he throws out. So a lot of people are trying to figure out, is it arcane or elemental damage that he does best with? Either one. If you get the mage set, it's going to have arcane damage and it's going to have elemental. And I find that if you equip him with an elemental staff, he does a lot more damage. So, and this will leave, and the Ghost Fire will leave an area of effect, damage over time, ticking fire. So anyone who's in the fire takes ticking damage. It does do a little bit of damage up front, more than it does tick for. So really good for clearing out packs of enemies. He's great for that. And that is Starwalker. Now, moving on to the next two companions, and these two are the ones you meet in the main story. So you meet Ernst and Wyanna in the Golden Forest, right on the outskirts, right over here, at Ernst's house, and you have to play through the entirety of the main story in order to unlock them as companions. So when you beat the main story, and says congratulations, you beat the main story. If you go to Ernst's house, they will be sitting out in front of the house waiting for you as companions, and you can get both of them. Now, Wyanna is a archer companion, so think of her as just an archer. For her to become your friend, it requires Adonite arrows, and you can only get these by crafting them through blacksmithing or weaponsmithing, or you can get them as drops off skeletons in the Darklands, the skeleton archers in the Darklands, and they are going to be in this area down here. The skeleton archers are they're all over down here, and you can get about 20 or so, maybe 21 in this area, that you can then give to her for being your friend. That's how I upgraded her so far, as I went and got some arrows for her last night, and then I went back. I was going to go back today and finish her off, see if I could finish her off, becoming my friend. But she uses jewelry, of course, and the King set is going to be the best set for her because it gives her the highest ranger damage, or ranged damage. The King's Bow is also going to be the best weapon for her because it gives her the 25% crit chance with the 145 damage. And then, of course, she can only wear leather boots. Now, her skills. And I'm going to tell you this. She is the strongest damage dealer in the game. Her first ability, Rain of Arrows, melts enemies. If she's in this stuff here, she will melt every enemy she hits with Rain of Arrows. And this does an insane amount of damage in an area. So really good for that. Next up, we have Piercing Arrow. This is actually a really powerful one when she uses it. It's a single target shot, and it does insane damage. Next up, we have Marksmanship. This is a buff for the player, and I don't know if she can put it on anyone else, but it's a 50% ranged damage buff. It's insane on an archer. Evasion, another really good ability for her because it decreases her aggro, and because of the amount of damage she does, she's drawing aggro even off the dog, which is insane. But really good for having this ability and having the bonus cooldown effects and this. It's kind of hard to decide which one to get for her. I would almost say the decrease would be better with the increased damage and crit, but if you can go this route right here, just these three abilities, I think that would be best for her. I mean, she has the highest crit chance as well, 50%. So the decreased cooldown of her abilities and the increased ability effect, her rain of arrows will melt a pack of enemies by itself. Like, you don't even need to be in there fighting. So, really powerful character, and one of the best damage dealers. That is it for Wyanna. We're going to move on now to Ernst. Ernst is probably the most unusual companion, because I even had to ask the developer if he was bugged. So Ernst is a alchemist, and even in the game, his skills are alchemy. So to be his friend, you need gold. He is the fourth and final one that takes gold. So just so you guys know real quick, I'll go over this. Sidmer, Katra, Brother Jordan, and Ernst all require gold to upgrade their friendship with you. The dog is cooked meat or baked meat. He is baked ribs. He is the ghost essence. She is the arrows. But let's get into Ernst because, again, I'm confused by him. He is the only companion I'm confused with gearing out. Because it seems like any jewelry you put on him just increases his health, his mana, and that's it. If, and I'm saying that, if you see this, you'll understand why it's confusing. So if I take his necklace off, his stuff changes. If I put his necklace back on, it changes again. Now, the reason this changed was because I took off his necklace while I had the buffs going, so it's showing, it's reflecting the buffs now. So if I take the necklace off, you'll see it only changes his health. If I take the wand off, it'll change his damage. If I take the gloves off, it changes his damage. So I don't know if magic damage is what he requires. If it is, the Mage Guild is going to be perfect for him. But he doesn't require mana to use his potions. And we'll get into those in a second. Right now I have him set up for like a kind of hybrid damage support thing. Because again, I don't know how he really works. So healing potion is his first skill. This gives all, like, the player and any allies, he'll run up to you and he just literally just like feeds it to you and it'll heal you. And it is a huge heal. Then he has his rage potion, which gives you a buff. Basically like a 20-second buff of increased damage. Same thing with the armor. Increases your armor. And it's 10 armor, and this is 10%. And then the next one is his mana potion of restoration. And it's a 10% restoration, like, regen. It's like, wow, like, this guy's insane. He's got all these cool abilities. And he's the second support character in the game. And he's super insanely powerful. So if you can get Ernst and Wyanna in your group, you pretty much don't need very many other companions, like, honestly. But I do like using all the companions, so I mix and match different ones I take with me on adventures. As you can see, I kind of just set them up to work, and that's why I literally had to ask the developer what sets does he work best with, because I don't know. Any of these characters, companions, are all great to have in your party, and they help so much in so many different ways. There are other companions you can get. If you're a necromancer, you can get skeleton companions, but they're not the brightest tools in the sheds, and you can't upgrade them. Like with gear and stuff, you can only upgrade them through magic, so or through the dark magic line with this ability and these increases here. So, and just so people know, if you play a dark magic user, you can use nature magic, you can use light, you can use all that, but your skeleton's health pool and their damage is increased by dark magic. So you would have to go necromancer, and then you would have to go with like a set from another one, like a nature set. If you were going with the skeletons, the undead skeletons, you'd have to go with nature. And this is why I've brought this up to the developer. We need more gear sets for the epic sets that fit into the different play styles that are available for people to play. Like, there needs to be a medium armor holy set. There needs to be and that's a medium armor rogue type, and a medium armor and a heavy armor, like, I don't know, like there's the paladin, there's the priest. I think there needs to be a medium armor rogue type and then a medium armor ranger type in the medium armor, or in the holy armors, and other things. I just don't know. But yeah, so you can get those companions and stuff, and that's pretty much it for the companions, guys. There's too many videos I've got to make on guides for this game, because there's so much to talk about. This game is insane with the amount of stuff you can do, companion wise, everything. Somebody asked me the other day, what would I compare this game to? A single player MMORPG. That's the best way I can explain it. It is a single player MMORPG. I don't even consider it an open world RPG, because you're going to follow the leveling progression of your character through the different areas. You're going to go from Green Vales to Golden Forest, into the Endless Fields, to the desert. Then you're going to go to either the Volfar Fields. Then you're going to go to the swamp, the Enchanted Forest, Mortling Hold, Darklands, and do all that stuff. So it's really interesting. But yeah, that's it for companions. I need to stop, because otherwise I'll ramble on. So that's it. If you guys like the video, you guys know what's coming next. Go ahead and hit that like button. If you guys want to see more videos by me, you can subscribe. If you do subscribe, I do suggest you click that notification bell to be notified when I post new videos. Other than that, I want to thank you all for watching. Until next time, have a wonderful day, and this guy might see you in game. Bye.